Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today for our webinar for transfer students. I'm just going to wait a couple of seconds, let everybody come in from the waiting room, and then we'll get started. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. I know a lot of you are busy this Wednesday, and I will go ahead and get everything going. But thanks so much for coming and taking the time to learn more about transferring to K-State. My name is Sarah Kells. I'm one of the online recruitment coordinators here, and I work with our online undergraduate students. And I'm joined here with a couple of my colleagues.
Yeah, my name is Hannah. I'm also an online recruitment coordinator, so also working with undergraduate students looking to come and participate in our online programs.
And my name's Andrew, and I'm one of our associate directors that oversee our transfer and our online and adult learners. And I'm happy that you all decided to join us today.
So for today, here's a brief overview of what we're going to go over. First, we're going to have a few poll questions to get to know our attendees a little better, where you're from, when you plan to start, and then we'll have a presentation where we'll go over the transfer process, some of the transfer tools and resources. And then after that, we will have some time for some questions. But at this time, go ahead and see and locate the Q&A button down below at the bottom of your Zoom window. This is where you can ask us questions throughout the presentation, and we'll try to answer those as we go, but sometimes we might save some of them for the very end. But let's go ahead and have you guys answer that first poll question. How many previous institutions have you attended? We have students that attend, one, maybe they've attended more than five. I've actually had a student one time attend 10. I think they had to send in 10 different transcripts. So there is no right or wrong answer. We just want to get to know how many institutions, maybe this is your first time transferring. Um, but go ahead and answer that if you haven't. All right. Awesome. Yeah, it looks like we have a few that have been to a couple. Some of you have been to three or four. So a great variety here. We'll go ahead and ask our second question. So where are you transferring from? Are you here in Kansas? Are you outside of Kansas? Or maybe we have some international students. We serve a wide variety of different student populations. A lot of people are familiar with us if they do live here in Kansas, but with online, we do get quite a few that live outside of the state of Kansas, some international, but also our military student population that takes them outside of the US. So yeah, go ahead and take a second to answer that. All right, wonderful. All right, great. So no international students, but we just have a couple here in the state of Kansas, but it looks like a lot of you are actually from outside the state of Kansas. So thanks so much for considering us. And so our third question, when are you thinking about starting at K-State? Some of you might be thinking about starting right away, our summer and fall semester that are coming up here soon. Maybe you are finishing up at a community college or another school and are thinking about maybe next year. Or maybe you're just kind of gathering some information and may not have an idea and you're thinking a little bit later down the road. Everyone's a little bit different. Oh, but it looks like everybody is wanting to start right away. So great. So awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and thanks so much for answering those. And we'll go ahead and get started with the presentation. Just another reminder to ask questions as we go through in that Q&A box. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start with identifying transfer students. Who are our transfer students? So here at K-State, anyone who has completed 24 or more credit hours is considered a transfer student. If you have less than that, you would be considered a freshman. But transfer students usually have a good portion of their credits completed. And that's usually maybe some of their general education requirements, maybe some of those core classes that are very specific to their major. And so that's when a lot of them also start at community colleges to get those done. And they might be transferring to a 4-year school after that. But a lot of different reasons that students transfer. It could be for continuing on if they are attending a 2-year school. Maybe they are military and they transfer to different schools and they haven't really considered an online school. But that's one benefit of being an online student is that no matter where you live, you can still attend that school and not have to switch up all the time. Maybe sometimes they might be getting some more financial aid or scholarships at a different school. Sometimes maybe it's a school has their major that they're looking for. Not always does a school offer the major that they're looking for. And also, it might also be a personal reason. Maybe they have a closeness with that school. Maybe that school just feels right to them. So there's a lot of different reasons why students change institutions. For our online programs, 87% of our online students are transfer students. They do have some sort of transfer credits, and that just helps them progress and complete their degree faster. It also helps reduce the cost of that degree. That's another reason why some students start at community colleges because it does cost less. But then coming here to K-State, it helps reduce that cost so you don't have to complete as many courses with us at that a little more increased price. However, with any students, over a third of students transfer. That's a lot of students that are actually transfer students. And so here at K-State, we do want to make sure that you have the resources to help you with that transition and make sure that you are successful here at K-State in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom. So we offer more than 100 online degrees and programs. Our online courses are built for online learners. So there's not a day or time that you would attend class. The courses and materials can be accessed on your schedule through our Canvas learning management system. And they consist of pre-recorded lectures, message boards, videos, group projects, different ways to present the material and keep you engaged in that class. You would work though at your own pace and schedule, but still pay attention to those due dates for exams and assignments. So we are asynchronous. We follow the traditional semester length though. So most classes are going to be 16 weeks long. Occasionally there are some 8-week courses available, but you do also decide on your course load for the semester. Most of our students are going to be part-time because we do have a large adult learner online population. They usually take 1 or 2 classes a semester just because they do have families, full-time jobs, uh, other responsibilities outside of education. But we do have some students that are full-time, so it is up to each individual student. Also, with our online courses, we actually have a fixed tuition rate regardless of if you're in state or out of state. So we don't have in or out of state tuition costs for our online courses. There are going to be some fees that the individual colleges charge, and that's something that we can discuss with you one-on-one if you have questions about that. When you complete a degree with K-State Online, you'll actually receive the same diploma when you graduate. No indication on how your courses were delivered. We do also highly encourage you to come to campus and walk for graduation because it's something that you have worked hard for and it should be celebrated. Our online courses are going to be taught by the same instructors and professors who teach our on-campus courses. So you will be receiving the same content and information as if you were an on-campus student. So the degree is equivalent. So we do sometimes have students that are worried that they're not going to get the same quality education online, but that is one thing that you can be reassured about. Online students with K-State Online do also get access to the same support and resources as on-campus students, advising, coaching, tutoring, help with testing. Those are the same services that we can help you with. We also have career resources through our career center. They can help you via Zoom with, exploring majors and careers, job search training, employer connection, and even help creating resumes and cover letters. I am not good at writing cover letters, so definitely they can help with that. They also want to make sure that you feel supported and successful in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom. So we do have counseling services, financial counseling, and if you're military affiliated, we do have military resources. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to my colleague, Hannah, to talk about the application process.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, so now that we kind of know a little bit more about our class structure and what it's like to be a K-State student online, I'll talk a little bit more about what our application looks like in general, and how you can get some of that information. So you're probably going to want to start by exploring our degree options. Like Sarah mentioned, we do have 100 different online programs between our bachelor's degrees, our minors, our undergraduate certificates, and our master's programs. We have a lot to offer and a lot of different avenues for you to pursue. So we just put a link in the chat for you to explore those majors and programs. On that webpage, you can filter it by a degree you're looking for. You can also filter it by interest area. So if you're interested in an education program and you want to see what we offer, you can filter it that way. I really like filtering it and just seeing everything that we do offer. So that is a really useful tool for you to be able to explore, look around. Each of the web pages is also generally going to have some sort of curriculum overview. So if you're interested in what kind of classes you'll be taking in that program, maybe you'll see classes that you've already taken and you want to get an idea of how many credits you'll have left. That's a really good starting off point, just to see what is all offered in that program. It'll also give you a description of that program. So it's a really good jumping off point for you to start there. Once you've done a little bit of exploring, we highly encourage you to reach out to an admissions representative. For online students, that will either be myself or Sarah. We will be the person to answer any questions that you might have about those programs. So if you're seeing anything on the web page, maybe you aren't seeing a program, you want to know if it's offered online, anything like that, we can be the person to help you answer those questions. I like to think of us as kind of the first line of defense for any questions. And then if there's any specific questions that we don't know the answer to, we probably know somebody who knows that answer. So we can always help you find a good contact. So if you ever don't know who to reach out to, start with us. You can see the Meet My Rep page is the link we just added to the chat. You'll see information about myself and Sarah, and then you can always email us at online@ksu.edu, and we'll share that later on too. But yes, we're a really good resource. We love to talk to students over the phone too. So if you do want a real live person to talk to and chat about our programs or our application process, if you run into any issues, we'll be here to help. So do reach out to us. And then once you've gathered all that information, maybe you've touched base with us, you'll then, determine that starting semester. I think all of you indicated that you're ready to get started either this summer or this fall, which is really exciting for us to hear. Our applications are still open for both starting terms, so we're getting ready. We're enrolling for those starting semesters. So whenever it makes the most sense for you to transfer is when we want you to come to us. Sometimes that's right away for students. Sometimes it is waiting and finishing up those courses at a different institution. But we want you to feel comfortable. So that's your next step. Then we'll go ahead and move on to dates and deadlines on this next page. So as you're thinking about applying to K-State, you do want to keep in mind our application deadlines. These are the dates that you see on the left-hand side of the presentation. So for our fall semester start date, students, you'll want to get your application in by August 1st. If you're wanting to start in the spring, the application deadline will be January 1st. And if you're wanting to start in the summer, the application deadline is May 1st. So for our students who are wanting to start this summer, the application deadline is just around the corner. I believe that is next Thursday already, which is kind of crazy to think about. April kind of flew by. And as you're thinking about this deadline too, do keep in mind that we also need your official transcripts by that date as well. That can sometimes trip up our transfer students because they don't realize that they need to have their official transcripts sent to us in order for their application to be considered complete. So the three components we need from you when applying, you'll need to fill out our application and submit that with your information. You'll need to pay the application fee, either paying the application or requesting a fee waiver. And then you will also need those official transcripts sent to us. So do keep that in mind. And I think, did we skip ahead on the presentation? Sorry, I'll talk about the scholarship deadlines too. I might have skipped ahead a little bit. So for the scholarship application dates too, those are some other dates you do want to pay attention to as you're thinking about applying, and then funding for your education. So if you are starting in the fall, our scholarship application, it will be an application period. So you'll be applying April 15th through June 1st. So that is happening now. So if you are wanting to start in the fall, for our online student scholarships, you'll want to start applying for those now. If you're starting in the spring, it'll be from September 15th through November 1st. And then that summer start date, those applications are open February 15th through April 1st. And we did include a couple of links in the chat for our application page, and as well as our online student scholarships. Okay, thanks, Andrew. Yes, so when you are applying for admission, the admission requirements that we'll be looking for our transfer students, if you have that 24 credit hours that you're transferring in, we'll just be looking for a 2.0 GPA on that transferable work. Some of our programs do have some more specific criteria or requirements that they're looking for, but generally for most of our online programs, we're just looking for the 2.0 GPA on our credits. So that's why we need those official transcripts from you. That's what we'll be reviewing as we look at your application for admission. Like I mentioned before, I know I got a little bit ahead of myself on what we need for that application for admission. So when you are doing that, you will submit that application, that $40 application fee, and then having your official college transcript sent to us. So those are the 3 pieces that we will need. As you're thinking about submitting those official college transcripts, do keep in mind that we need those sent directly from the institution to us. It can't be sent to you at any point. Otherwise, those won't be considered official. We also do need it from all previous attendant institutions. So even if you just took 1 class there, we will still need those official transcripts, or even if you took it, years ago, anything like that, we will still need those official transcripts. So all things just to keep in mind as we're going through that application process. So after you apply and we've made an admissions decision, so we've reviewed that application and you've been admitted, that's the exciting part, and you'll be ready to move on to next steps toward enrollment, which is obviously the fun part of picking out your classes and getting ready to start at K-State. So what you'll do after that, once you've been admitted, you will need to wait 2 business days for our system to process your acceptance, but then you will create your K-State EID and password. This is what you're going to use to access our K-State systems, such as your K-State email. So it's really important for you when you're setting up that EID and password to remember your EID and password, because you will be using it a lot. So either jot down that password or anything like that, so that you remember that, because you'll be using it to access your email, but you'll also use it to register for your new student orientation, which is that next step toward enrollment. So this is a really important piece. Again, you'll use that K-State EID and password to register, and then you'll gain access to our online orientation course modules. And you'll complete those. They're relatively simple. It will walk you through all the components of being a K-State student, the different resources available to you, etc. A lot of great information will be in that course. And then once you complete that course, your academic advisor will be reaching out to you within 2 weeks to enroll in your classes. Like I mentioned before, this is happening now for our summer and fall students. So this is kind of the steps that you can expect once you're admitted for those 2 starting terms. So you really want to be sure that you're monitoring your K-State email once you create that EID and password, because all of the communication from your academic advisor will be coming to your K-State email. So it's really important to keep checking both of your emails, both your personal and your K-State email at that point, because you don't want to miss any of that important information. But that's kind of what those next steps look like after you've been admitted.
Okay, I think I take it over from here. So one of the biggest things that we want to touch on is the tools that are available for you all to know how your courses transfer. And here at K-State, we do have a wide variety of different tools that are available to our prospective transfer students. And I have them listed out here. And those are our transfer equivalency tool, our course evaluation request, and our transfer pathways. So we'll talk a little bit about these in depth, but just as a high level view, so our transfer equivalency tool allows you to see how your courses will transfer from your previous institutions. So you'll select your previous institution that you're transferring credit from. You'll search by your course number and see how that course will come to K-State on a course by course basis. If you do not find those courses in our transfer equivalency tool, there's no reason to panic. It just means that we've not had those courses previously evaluated, which means that you can go out and submit a course evaluation request, and then provide us with the syllabi for those previous courses, and then we can have those academic departments review. This process usually only takes about 10 business days, so we're pretty quick on getting those turned around to you. And this is most common for our students transferring from out of state institutions. So most of our courses from the in-state, from the inside the state of Kansas institutions, we have a majority of those evaluated already. So if you're coming from an institution outside of the state of Kansas, this may be more common for you to see happening. And then we also have our transfer pathways tools. This is one that we are continuously developing, but this allows you to kind of track your degree path and see what transferable credits are available to you from your current institution, given your K-State major. We have these built out for all of our programs that are available at K-State. For Kansas community colleges. So if you're thinking about maybe taking some classes from a Kansas community college or have taken classes from a Kansas community college, you can see how these are applicable to your given major as well. All of these tools are available out on our website, and we have the link listed here, but all of those are at our k-state.edu/transfer-credit. And that's kind of our transfer toolkit where you can see all of the transfer tools that we have available for you. This slide kind of gives you a glimpse of what we're looking at when we're talking that transfer equivalency tool. So when you go out and you look at your institution, you'll get a long list of all the available all the evaluated courses that we have out there. You can click over here and select them, add to your list, and this is what your results will look like. So you can see the transfer course, so the course that you took at your previous institution, what that course is at K-State, any notes, and then there may be a begin date or an end date. That really just looks at when that course was evaluated. So some of them might be older, like the 90s, or pretty recent within the last couple of years. And then this list, once you have all those courses added to it, you can email it to yourself. You can export it and download it into an Excel file, where you can then take it with you to better utilize your transfer credits and have a better idea when you have those discussions. So I highly encourage most of you, as you kind of consider coming to K-State for the summer or fall, go ahead and go out and use this transfer equivalency tool. That'll be a big help, especially when it's time to meet with your academic advisor and knowing beforehand kind of how those classes will transfer for you. This is an example of that transfer course evaluation. So if for some reason your courses aren't listed on our transfer equivalency tool, you are able to select this tool here and walk through getting the process of getting that evaluated. So it'll ask you some questions about where you took your your credits from your previous institution, the name, the number of those courses, whether you're a prospective current or if you're a staff member doing it on behalf of a student, you are able to do that and request those. Again, that takes about 10 business days, so between 1 to 3 weeks for us to get those evaluations back, and those are sent to you personally from us. Okay, so this is our next step. So rounding things out. So if you're ready to make that next step, the first step is going to be applying for admission. So using that link that we put in the chat earlier, you can go out and complete your application. It's a pretty simple process. It takes maybe 20 minutes to complete. Go ahead and get those transcripts sent over to us so we can make that final decision. And then once that's made, you can start the process of getting registered for orientation and all of that good stuff. This webinar recording will be available within about 2 weeks after that, and we will be posting that to our our Webinar Wednesday webpage, where you can go out and see all of those previously hosted webinars. And then if you still have any questions, feel free to email us at online@k-state.edu. That is perfectly fine for you to do so, and we are happy to answer any questions. The biggest thing is that email will go to either Hannah or Sarah. So only one email you have to remember. You don't have to know who you are referring to specifically. But with that, that kind of wraps up our official programming, but we would love to answer any questions that you have. Sarah, I will turn it over to you if there's any questions. I think there's one that we needed some clarification on.
Yeah, it looks like there were a couple of questions that came in about scholarships. So the I kind of addressed this one, but scholarship deadline that Hannah was referring to was for our scholarships for online students. That is a separate application and process than our general university scholarships or through our Kansas State Scholarship Network. When you apply for and if I get this wrong, let me know, Andrew. But when you apply for admission, you are considered for general university scholarships. There are some scholarships that may not be available for online students, and also some that have different requirements, like being a full-time student. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're looking at different scholarship options. Andrew, Hannah, did you want to add any? Oh, and then another one of the questions was, how do you get the EIN for the scholarship applications? I'm not sure
I'm
about that.
guessing they meant EID.
Oh, the
um,
EID.
for
Okay.
that. And Hannah kind of touched on that, but once you're admitted, you'll receive instructions on how to set up that EID and your password, and that's going to be your access to all things K-State.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so you do need to be admitted to apply for those online student scholarships. So that's one thing to keep in mind for prospective students is that you do need to be admitted.
Any
Well, I'll go
other-
ahead.
Go
We
ahead,
don't
Sarah.
have any questions right now, but we're going to go ahead and open it up to more questions. If anyone has any questions about the transfer process or, I mean, even a specific program that you're interested in online, we'll kind of keep this open for a few minutes. But as Andrew said, the online at k-state.edu email is where you can reach Hannah or myself if you have any follow-up questions. You can also schedule a one-on-one phone call with us if that's easier for you. We're available anytime you have any questions about the program, the application process, or anything. But yeah, please go ahead and type any questions you might have. I guess I'll just do a last call for that. All right. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today. We'll let you go. I'm sure everyone's busy. And again, if you have any questions, just let us know. But we really appreciate you taking the time to learn more about transferring to K-State Online. Have a great day, everyone.